Oh, the joy, 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 light in my soul. The joy, 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 making me whole. Though I'm broken, I am running into your arms of love.
Peace of the Lord be with you all on this marvelous day. Every day is a marvelous day because it's the day that the Lord has made. So we must rejoice and be glad in it. 2019 is coming to a quick close, right? And I had mentioned when we started off the Advent season that in the Catholic Church, we're starting a new liturgical year, right? And so what is like our spiritual goals for the year? What is our spiritual resolution for, I guess, 2020, right? And I guess the emphasis is put more on January 1st. Like, I'm going to go into 2020 and I'm going to normally it's lose weight, exercise more, read more. But spiritually, what is it? Like, what is your guys' goal for 2020? So I was listening to two Catholic YouTubers this morning. I was listening to Laura from At Laura Likes and Heather from A Catholic's Mom's Life. And they were both sharing the influential YouTubers, right? And, you know, specifically geared towards themselves, right? And so it got me thinking, if you guys have been with me from the beginning of this journey, you understand that being a YouTuber is something that had been a call for me for a while, but I couldn't come forth, right? And it wasn't until one day I decided, you know, it was in my mind once again. God had placed it there, and I went on YouTube and I put on the search menu Catholic YouTubers, right? Catholic YouTubers. And maybe I think it was like the first video that came up there was Heather, and it said, please be a Catholic YouTuber. And I was totally in shock because this is something that I had been discerning, and it just so happened that, you know, Heather was one that basically was a confirmation from the Lord that was like, yes, Steph, like, go forward, be what I want you to be, which is this Catholic YouTuber, right? And every Catholic YouTuber the majority of them has children, right? And that are women. And I'm one that has six little blessings. And it's like, how am I teaching them, right? So I also thought of, not only did I think of the most influential people in 2019 for YouTubing, but I also thought about the most influential book that I read for 2019. And that is the book of The Warning, The Illumination of Conscience. And I've talked about this book several times on this channel. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm constantly talking about this. And I really do feel like it's probably not said enough, you know, like, purchase the book. If you are thinking of a book to start with in 2020, get the book, The Warning. Like, it is an eye-opener. You want to spread the message to everybody that you know. And you want them to know, hey, God is giving us the opportunity to start learning more about our faith, start getting into the catechism of the church if we don't already do so, getting into scripture if we don't already do so, praying, fasting, all of these things that we're being called to do. And our Blessed Mother tends to come every so often to tell us, the world is just getting darker. And I know I've said this a lot, but it's getting darker. It's the God's children don't have a care in the world. Don't even care about, they feel like this is the only life they're gonna live, and they forget that there's not only this life. We have a life in heaven that we're gonna be there for eternity. And obviously that's the ultimate goal for everybody, for all God's children. Our mother has come and has said, I am so saddened by the way that all my children are heading. And it saddens my son even more, his passion people don't even care about that. And that is so sad, because it's like, what friend would do that to you in order for your life to be saved? And it's like, we want to be hearing constant thank you when we do something for someone. And the person that did the most for us, for our well-being, for our soul, was Jesus Christ. And how much do we really thank him, right? And so so our mother has come, given the messages, and it's like, what are God's children doing with those messages? And so this book, The Illumination of Conscience, basically is different people, stories of different people that have had their illumination of conscience. These are people that, some of them are still alive today. And by the grace of God, I had the opportunity to meet one of the people within the book. I live in California. I'm not very far from Sacramento. And so Christine Watkins was giving a talk about this book at a parish in Turlock. And so I'm going to show you a little clip of what she says, right? So here you go.
And even though many, and my list that I read off to you that's in the warning book is not exhaustive by any means, many people have prophesied of this earth-shaking event. So why is it not being preached in every church? Why is it not being shouted from one Christian rooftop to the next? Well, the reason why, what happens to the prophets in salvation history? Over and over again. Were they listened to by the masses? They never were. They never were. They were met with hardened rejection, dismissal, or indifference. That's how prophecy has been revealed by God's people. And then there's a few. There's a remnant. A few people believe, and they act, and they take it to heart. And God builds his church on those few, year after year, century after century. So this is really important that you're here. It's really important who you speak to about this. It's really important whether you absorb this information or not. And I'll tell you what. And much of it is also, by the way, mentioned in Matthew 24, verses 29 to 31, which I'll read later. So first of all light from the sun will be extinguished. The moon will not shine, the stars will not shine. It will be pitch black. And then suddenly, two celestial bodies will collide and produce a massive light, and Jesus will appear in the sky on the cross, not in his crucified form, but in his glorified state. And from holes in his wounds, in his hands and his feet and his sides, rays of light will suddenly light up the earth. Day will be brighter than day. Night will be brighter than day, wherever you are on the earth. And at the same moment that the earth is lit up, everyone's soul will be pierced in the divine light of truth. Every person will be alone with his or her conscience in that moment. And everything will stop. If you're in a car, it will stop. If you're in a plane, it will stop. And people can say, well, how can God do that? He's God. He created the matter. He can do with it what he will. Jesus walked, he appeared in the upper room out of nothing. He ascended into heaven. Do you think that the plane won't be able to stop him? Did I say that right? Do you think that he won't be able to stop the plane? Everything will be fixed in time. And for about 5 to 15 minutes, people will see all of their sins. Their sins of omission, the things they didn't do but were called to do, and their sins of commission, the things that they did and were supposed to have done. And they will see the repercussions of those sins. And they will feel what it's like should they die at that moment. And they will know where they're supposed to go, whether it be heaven, purgatory, or hell. So a person will recognize their faults immediately. For those who would go to purgatory, they will feel the pain of their sin, and they will know what they have to correct. For those very close to God, they will see those small things that they need to perfect in order to have union with their beloved. And for the ones who would go to hell, they will burn. They will feel the whipping of Satan, and they will experience his beating, and many will not survive because of the emotional impact of this. But even so, if they were to have a stroke or a heart attack, even that will be part of God's mercy, because they will still have time to repent. They will see and know their state, and there's still the possibility of salvation for them. So as you can see, the warning will be one of the greatest acts in the history of Christianity. One of the greatest acts that God have done since the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And it's a huge act of mercy for a world going in the wrong direction. Why is God sending it? It's because it's a correction of the conscience of the world. Our conscience has gone dark. People are not being taught what is right and what is wrong anymore. In fact, they're being taught the opposite. We're living in times very much like Noah lived in before the flood. And so no one will be able to say, there is no God after the warning. No one will be able to say, I didn't know that was a sin. How could I have known? They will know. We're so far off the railroad tracks of righteousness that some people don't even know where the tracks are. They wouldn't even know where to look to get back on. Too many of God's children are falling into perdition, and his heart is breaking, and he cannot take it anymore. He wants to act. This is the day of mercy that he mentions to St. Faustina Kowalska in her diary. Jesus urges people to use this time right now to accept his mercy, to repent and change. He said, he who refuses to pass through the door of my mercy must pass through the door of my justice. Tell souls about this great mercy of mine, because the awful day, the day of my justice, is near.
Okay, so, she's talking about the book and how God, basically towards this last year, she felt like God was moving things rather quickly. And honestly, I think we're seeing more and more things occurring within the world, many changes within the weather, and all of these things are going to happen towards the end, and it's like Wynn says, he said, God told him, like, this is the generation. It could be my generation, it could be our kids' generation, but this is the generation. So, it's like he said, and I'm going to show you what he said. So listen to this.
The very first thing that I want to convey is that I am no different than you who are here tonight or anyone else. I still struggle with certain things in my own life that hinder my relationship with God like anyone else. Secondly, I do not, nor have I ever taken any of the things that you're about to hear upon myself or made any of it up. And I can say this with a clear conscience before God and before the magisterium of the church. These things have been discerned, confirmed, and then affirmed to me over a period of 16 years by a number of holy priests through affirmations and signs given from the Lord and Blessed Mother Mary, even when at times I was kind of secretly hoping someone would tell me just to drop it all and move on with my life. I can't. Because if I do, I'm going to have to answer to Jesus. I'm going to be the guy that buried his treasure in the sand. But because of certain signs that I see in the world and the church, I feel it's time that I have no other choice but to come forward publicly and obey the word that was given to me by the Lord Jesus Christ himself when he commanded me to proclaim. This is not being done, nor will it ever be, without the approval and the blessing of our current pastor, Father Manuel Susan. At the beginning of 2003, I began to experience what was described to me at the time has extraordinary consolation, not because it means I'm holy by any means. Rather, I was a great sinner, but I was good at it. God knew the mistakes I was going to make in my life, the sins that I was going to commit, and chose to not only show me great mercy, but then to begin to reveal himself to me in very extraordinary ways. And they have continued up to this very day. These consolations are private revelations that come from Jesus, the Blessed Mother, angels, one well-known saint, and on one occasion, God the Father. They've come through visions, through interlocutions, and dreams, followed by very accurate interpretation. These consolations or private revelations have moved from what I thought at the beginning were singular graces. There's probably some of you here that have had visions, that have seen the Blessed Mother, that have had rosaries turned to gold. Over a period of time, they have become a very clear but urgent message. They are streamlined. On April 14, 2003, I experienced the third of many of these revelations to follow. This experience is recorded in Christine's book and is one in which the sacred scriptures were opened to me on a very deep level. As God removed the veil from my eyes in regards to them, He began to reveal the glory of the law, who is Christ Jesus, through which prophecy written became very clear in all its forms.
I got to speak to both of them at the end of the conference. As you could see, there was not a lot of people, which I thought was pretty amazing because, and it's maybe because the book is so new, and it's like she said, this book, I've written books, right? And this book is by far the best-selling book that I've ever written. And it's in that time, it had just come out. I think it hadn't even been a month, and it already surpassed all the books that she had written. And obviously Vince, that was his first time actually speaking in public about the illumination of conscience. And he did mention, like, I felt like I was alone. I thought I was the only person that this had happened to. So, he's all, when I wrote my part of the portion of the book, I didn't write everything that God had done for me, or God had showed me. And a lot of these people, in their own personal stories, the things that they had gone through, the things that God had showed them, he was able to relate because it happened to him as well. You know what I mean? So, but it just goes to show, like, there's people that have already had their illumination of conscience, and now these people are being called to share that information with us because, like he mentioned, and like a few people in the book had mentioned, like, this is the generation. And towards the end of the book, I think it's the very end, it talks about Father Michael Rodri, and he is an exorcist from Canada. And so I think it's like his story is so amazing. He's like, he reminds me of another Padre Pio, and you guys know Saint Padre Pio is like my buddy, right? And Father Michael Rodri, God spoke to him from a very early age. He was 3 years old when he started having conversations with Mama Mary and Jesus Christ. And God basically gave him a course of theology throughout his life. So as he grew up, he had a very savvy mind in the theology within the church. And that was because God had been his teacher through his life, right? And so showed him the illumination of conscience, basically showed him what was going to happen at the end of times, and how God's last act of mercy was going to be to show each and every one of us what the state of our soul looked like and where we were going to go if we die in that instant. So that would either be heaven, purgatory, or hell, right? And so Michael Father Rodriguez, like, if you're learning about this, it's not by accident. This is not a coincidence. This is all God-given. Like, you guys need to prepare. Like, you need to prepare because God showed me what it was going to be like when the illumination of conscience happened. A lot of the people that were from a different religion are going to convert over to Catholicism. So there's going to be long lines at the confessional. There's going to be people trying to get in their sacraments. And he just talks, in the story, it talks in depth of like all of that is going to occur. And so I totally advise that if you need a read for 2020, like to go all in. It's gonna prepare you for the Lent season. Lent is coming here around real quick, like real quick. Before we know it, Lent is gonna be here. And this is a good read to prepare us for Lent. And just because it's like kind of getting ready for his second coming, you know, and I kind of mentioned that for Advent, right? We were preparing for sweet little baby Jesus to make our way into our heart, his way into our heart, as well as the second coming. And obviously with Lent, it's we're preparing up for the passion, and we're preparing for his coming, right? And so make sure you go into the description, and I'm going to post and share the book once again. You guys already know that I've shared this book many times, but I just feel like it's constantly, God is constantly asking me to just share and talk about it. So if you like this video, you know what to do. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will go ahead and, post the links of the wonderful ladies that kind of helped me get into this groove of YouTubing, as well as I will share the most influential book that I read for 2019. And I hope that that you guys will continue to follow along. Thank you for all of those people that have been in prayer. I know I have family and friends that listen to these videos, so I really want to thank you guys, because you guys are awesome, and I know that you guys have been praying for me and for this channel to flourish. And I pray that God blesses you guys with many more blessings for 2020. And I just pray that each and every one of you stay safe, and that our goal should always be, and our focus should always be Jesus Christ. So you know what to do. Like I said, comment, share,